Hey guys, welcome. Today I want to tell you who my biggest inspiration in skateboarding is and what my biggest regret in skateboarding is. And it's impossible to talk about one without the other because they're both kind of tangled up in a messy little ball. So first let's get into my regret. My biggest regret in skateboarding is that I did not give myself the opportunity to reach my full potential. As a naive youngster, I spent all of my time drinking and doing drugs, and I got into all the bad ones in all the worst ways. So from about 16 to 22, I was really distracted. I would sort of skate in periods and then go also on long benders and not skate. So I was really hindering my ability. You can clearly see this in the example of myself and my brother. So Ted learned from my mistakes, and we're both from the same genetic material. But he learned from my mistakes and really focused on his skating, and he was able to take it to levels that I couldn't. Although he also did have the advantage of being the younger brother and always trying to keep up with me, until of course he surpassed me. I, on the other hand, had a horrible attitude, thought that I was owed things just because I had a little talent, and also because I lived on a little island off the coast of BC, I was really sheltered and kind of oblivious to my ability levels. Because I was one of the better skaters in the area, I had this inflated sense of how good I was, when in reality I was so far behind what was actually being done. And just watching what my brother was doing should have been a good enough example. But when you're lost in the haze of addiction, you can be really kind of self-centered and blind and not see any of that stuff. So I missed another opportunity though, because I got clean at 22, and I just kind of assumed that, well, skateboarding was over for me, so I may as well not try too hard anymore. And I was right to believe that a career in skateboarding, becoming a pro, was probably out of the question at that point. But that was no reason to not still continually push for my personal best. But I did end up getting really absorbed by family, work, career, all that stuff, and just kind of let skateboarding go for about a decade. I would still skate, but I did not put my heart and soul into it. Alright, now let's jump to who my biggest inspiration in skateboarding is. My biggest inspiration is Guy Mariano. Now, I always kind of wanted him to be my favorite skater growing up, but there was so little footage of him because, well, he was actually kind of doing the same thing in a way. He was off going on benders and not getting footage. He may have been skating, but he wasn't actually living the life of a pro skateboarder. However, in the latter half of his career, he's blessed us with a few amazing video parts and quite a lot of footage of him showing what his true potential really is. And it was his video parts that he did in his 30s, so we're talking about fully flared and pretty sweet. Watching him go to new levels that I didn't think was possible for somebody of that age really gave me the inspiration to realize that I should be trying to reach my full potential. Now, I'm not naively assuming that I'm ever going to become sponsored or be pro, but just knowing that he could reach those levels gave me the insight to realize that it's not too late for me to find out what levels I can reach. So I should be getting to work, but really quick, here's some skating I did this morning at 6:45 a.m. Good morning, you guys. I'd like you to meet my new ledge. Damn it, now you know I drive a minivan. What did you expect though? 4 kids, right? This thing is so good, but it doesn't slide that well because your wheels get a little bit stuck under it. Anyways, I'm gonna lower it. We're gonna keep going lower, which seems counterintuitive. Well, that's been pretty fun, but I think I'm gonna move over there and do some flat ground. So that was a fun 90-minute session. I find 90 minutes is kind of the perfect time for me these days. Now I've had kind of a bittersweet and melancholy couple of days, and the reason is I've had this idea for this video for a while, and a couple days ago I went and watched Guy's fully flared part, and I was expecting it to get me all stoked, but actually I got bummed again because I realized, wow, this was 7 years ago and it's so amazing. And I was faced with that kind of realization I had in my 20s where I was like, I'm never going to catch up to this. And of course, I should know that because he's a professional skateboarder and he's Guy Mariano. And I'm a 37-year-old with 4 kids and a full-time job. But like I said, it's kind of like a messy, complicated thing. When you're young, you're always trying to catch up to the guys ahead of you. And there's this hope that you're going to get there. And as you get older, you kind of realize where your actual level is. And it can be hard to come to terms with that. But it was watching things like Guy's Epically Latered and also his Life on Video. If you haven't watched those, I highly recommend it. But it was watching those things that really made him my favorite skateboarder again. And now finally we have lots of footage because as a kid, I mean, I kind of hung on to any little scraps you could get of him. There was like 2 tricks in Goldfish. He had a Transworld interview at one point, and then he had that cover sequence of him doing a switch pop shove nose grind down a handrail. And then he comes out with that amazing part in Mouse. And then you don't see anything of him for like almost a decade. So I'm truly grateful for the work that he's put out and the opportunity it's given me to attempt to reach my full potential, whatever that may be. And having such a good session this morning helped me get out of that little melancholy funk I was in and worrying about where I think I should be or how I'm never going to catch up. None of that really matters. I mean, the important thing is that I was out doing my personal best and having a lot of fun on my board. So I wish that for you guys. Get out there and find your personal best. And, as always, may your next session be your best session yet. I better get to work because this place isn't going to trim itself. So, thanks for watching, you guys. Till next time. I worked so hard for that one that I'm not trying to get it cleaner. You got to know when to fold them before you fold those ankles. Time to go to work.